Claire, come on. Open the door.
Impress me.
Who's that wide-eyed little thing?
My darling angels, I am thrilled to have you all here and at my mercy. My little debutante. You're about to have a spectacular life.
I can't do anything with some frigid small-town virgin.
Hope I don't disappoint.
Get out of my sight!
Claire, tell me where you are. Tell me.
Come on up. Hey, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this show it's not like Black Swan, right? But
No.
we do have an opening that has you, I don't want to give anything away, pulling apart a piece of your body.
Which was that?
Your toenail.
Okay.
How often does that happen for in ballet, that your feet just get destroyed like that? Because you're an actual ballerina.
Yes, I'm a classically trained ballerina. I would say it happens once a year. It's like regrowing skin somehow, you know? It's not the easiest thing to do, to dance on just 2 toes. It's not all of your toes, just 2 of them, and it's quite painful.
It's unbelievable. It's a great opening. I was horrified. Talk to me about getting this role. You know, I know that the creators of the show were looking to cast all real dancers for it, and they went on a search to find someone who could dance and could also act well enough to carry a whole show.
Yeah, it was a completely unexpected moment in my life, and I'm very grateful that it happened. But I actually just got an email, and they were looking for a dancer, and I kind of thought, all right, I'll give it a try. And in the end, it turned out I was the one they wanted.
What was the audition process like for you?
I missed the 2000 or something girl audition that they did in America because I actually live in Germany. And
As a dancer, you work in a company in Germany, right?
yes, I've been there for 5 years in Dresden. And what was the question?
Well, what was the audition process like for you?
The audition process, yeah. I just sent a tape, and I got a response. Yeah, we like you. We'd like to see you in person. I came to the States, and I did an audition that was actually the final cut for the show, and it was just 2 other girls and myself, and they were actually looking for a brunette. So I was thinking, oh, maybe not, but I got it.
Now, with dance companies and with ballet, I think most of the movies that we're used to seeing, most of the stories that we're used to having told, there is a certain amount of vindictiveness and jealousy amongst those within companies. Obviously, for the purposes of drama, it's heightened in the show, but how real does that feel? How much do you relate to that and see it happen regularly?
I think in Europe, it's a little, not in Europe, where I dance, it's a little bit less competitive than in other places. I think in America, everyone has the drive to want to be the best and to get the most attention in what they do. And I think in the dance world, a lot of people will do anything to get there.
Why is it different in Europe?
Where I dance, it's a bit more relaxed. They're more into like a unique body type, a unique personality. Not everyone has to look the same, like in the modeling industry, or it's a bit more easy. And in Russia, those are the serious competition dancers.
Have you ever been to Russia and seen the competition, seen some of those personalities?
No, I would be kind of afraid, I think.
So tell us about your character. You're the main character of the show, and you're sort of a bit different than the rest of the girls in the troupe, right?
Yes, I play Claire. She's definitely more of a fragile girl than the rest of the girls there. She has a troubled family life and is looking for the power in herself to be as strong as the other girls emotionally. And it's a long journey for her to get there.
And she is berated, and I asked you this before, by the dance troupe director, the choreographer, right? The main choreographer? Is that what his title?
He's the director of the ballet company. He's
Director
like the
of
boss.
And like Vincent Cassel in Black Swan, he is sadistic in the way that he treats these women. This seems to be not a trope, but is this a pretty regular occurrence that you find in these companies?
I think anyone in that kind of position of power, when they have a lot of vulnerable, beautiful people around them, they can either take advantage of it or not. But it's kind of sad. In a lot of cases, they do take advantage of people. And in this case, Claire has to really fight a battle against her director.
Now, with all of these dancers on set, since the cast is mostly made up of dancers, how much do you find you guys consulting and sort of figuring things out, saying that's not what a dancer would do, this is what a dancer would do, anything like that? And how open are the creators of the show to that?
Very open, surprisingly. They wanted it to be as authentic as possible, so they were open to our opinions, our styles, how would you put your shoes on, how would you do this, and having dancers portray these characters, I mean, you can't be more authentic than that. We've all lived the experiences that the characters are going through on the show.
What were you told about in terms of what your character would be like and what you would have to do when you were going into the show? Because it's a fairly dark show. I love it. I love how dark it is.
It's a really dark show.
Yeah, it's really dark, but it's dark in that way that it's kind of thrilling to watch where it goes.
I wasn't really told anything about the journey of my character on the level of what she was going to go through emotionally. I was told just certain things, if you sign a contract, you have to know a few things. But for the most part, I would say I was pretty blind to what direction everything was going to happen.
I'm curious, like I said, we opened the show with your character picking a toenail apart. What's the worst injury that you've ever gotten while dancing? And what were some of the greatest challenges you've ever faced as a dancer?
I've never really had a really serious injury. I get kind of like muscle contractions where I'm like this for a few days at a time, which is really fun. And I'm sure a lot of people have had them before where your neck is stuck for a few days. But
I didn't mean to laugh, but you doing this in front of me was kind of funny.
Well, trying to dance like this is really fun, It's very graceful. I've been very fortunate that I've never had any injuries, no.
And you say that dancing in Europe is a little bit more relaxed than the U.S. What has your experience been dancing in the U.S.?
Well, as you can see, I'm a little curvy, and for a dancer, that's not very conventional.
What the hell are you talking about, curvy? Yeah.
Come on.
I guess for a dancer, but like.
Yeah, for a dancer, I'm considered curvy or heavy even, and yeah. It's happened. I'm 5'4" and 110 pounds, and I'm not afraid of it. So
fuck dancing. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
I mean, that's why I said it's like modeling. It's got this high standard, this really old school standard, and I'm kind of trying to break down those boundaries. And I think that I'm very fortunate to have as much success as I've had with my body.
Was that something that you guys talked about in terms of casting you and what your character would look like or anything like that? Was that something that the creators of the show considered?
I'm not really sure if they really had an opinion on it. I know the creator of the show was a dancer, so I mean I have a musculature that is not very untypical for a dancer, but the curves I think it's good for television. Not
bad for dancing, good for TV.
I mean, not every person wants to see an anorexic girl, doing every role. They want to see like a normal girl with a normal body doing what they love. It's great.
And now you had a small part in Black Swan, right?
A very small part.
What was your very small part in Black Swan?
I was on the floor like staring at Natalie Portman like this. Wishing that I was her. That was my role. I was wishing I was her. I danced a little bit, and I was some background. Nothing too serious.
And they shot a lot. How long were you on set while you were doing that? Because you watch the film and you're cut down to this one thing that you remember, but I'm sure you shot a lot more than that.
Yeah, we shot for about a month on location there, and yeah, it felt like forever because there was a lot of waiting and not a lot of doing anything for the background dancers. But yeah, I really didn't do that much.
Were you impressed with Natalie Portman's skills and the way that she trained and what she could do? I know that she probably had a form of a double at some point, but she also did a lot herself, apparently.
I mean, she has a natural grace and presence, and she's very, very feminine. So all of the dancing that she did, she played very, very well. She's very delicate in her face and balletic, and I was very proud of the work that she did, considering she's not a professional, and it takes a lifetime to become a professional.
And what about you as an actor? Are you proud of the work that you're doing as an actor? Do you feel comfortable acting now? Was it something that you moved into easily, coming from dancing?
I definitely had to adjust to speaking, because with dancing, most of the time you're just gesturing to people, like, you go over here, but you don't say you go over here, you just...
So did you gesture and speak, and they were like, no, you can speak, you don't have to gesture too? So you're like, you go over here in this scene.
And dance.
Yeah.
There's a whole vocabulary in dance that you do with gesturing. So no, I didn't do that. I definitely had a few facial twitches that I had to work out, because, if you put a camera this close to someone's face for the first time, it's very nerve-wracking.
Is that sort of the main thing that you had to get used to? Did you take any acting classes? Did you work with an acting coach or anything? Or did you just kind of trust your gut and your directors, your creators?
I just trusted my gut as much as I could. Yeah.
Do you miss dancing with your company when you're doing the show?
Well, I went back to it after filming.
They took you back.
They did. They took me back. And they could have not, because you can easily get replaced if you leave. And I didn't miss it because I was so busy. You're filming all the time, and everyone's in your face all the time, and you've got scenes to memorize and things to do. And when I went back, I was like, oh, okay,
now I gotta
back to reality. So, yeah.
How did you feel doing some of the darker scenes in the show? Some of the stuff that is pretty risque, if you will.
You mean nudity?
Sure.
I'm really
Let's be
comfortable
blunt
with
about
that.
it.
No, I'm very comfortable with it. I think, everybody has a body. They have everything. So I think, they did it very respectfully. There were not that many people in the room, and it was shot all very beautifully. It looks like a movie.
Was that something that you were surprised about afterwards, or did you question the intention of shots and how much you needed to show or anything when you were actually doing the scenes? I know a lot of people in situations like that would make sure that the shot that's being used is something that is not exploitational and affects the story itself.
I had the kind of relationship with the writer that she would make sure that everything was completely comfortable beforehand, and kind of embraced me of every sort of situation that I was going to have to deal with.
What's it like at this point? You've been a dancer for so long. You've been able to probably see some of your dancing on film or seen people have shot it. What's it like to go into the unknown with a show like this? You're the lead character, and how many episodes of it have you seen so far?
Just 2.
So what's it like to have seen 2 episodes of you leading as the lead role in a show?
It still hasn't really set in yet, It's all so new to me. I walked in here and I saw a bunch of paparazzi outside, and I was like, oh yeah, right, there's Spider-Man's probably here. And then they said Sarah, and I was like, what? Why are you taking my picture? You know who I am? That's crazy. So, it's a slow process of getting used to that kind of stuff, and I was really happy with what I saw on the show so far. It's really beautiful.
Is paparazzi for you crazy good or like a crazy bad thing?
I still haven't really recovered from it. I'm like, I have no words. It was so weird. It was totally weird.
I think we have some time for questions. Do people have questions? Let's get that microphone.
Hi there. Being signed to a ballet company seems to be very competitive. For this TV show, how competitive was it to get the position? You mentioned that there was an audition process for in America here where it was a couple thousand or something, and so then for you to just get an email, and how real competitive was it behind the scenes of getting that?
I really didn't have to see any of the audition process at all. It was kind of like they looked all over the U.S. and then in the last moment they thought, let's try out some European companies and see if we can find someone. And so it wasn't very competitive for me. The audition process, the final cut, was very nerve-wracking for me and the other two girls, and we formed sort of like a bond to keep each other lifted up under the pressure of the situation. I mean, there was like executive producers and all kinds of people in suits who didn't know very much about ballet, and they're all staring you down, and it was nerve-wracking, but the competition wasn't so bad.
How did you end up in a European company?
I went searching for my place in the world because I wasn't doing actually so well here because of my physique, and I thought I should try to find somewhere that really appreciates me and what talent that I have to offer.
Next question.
Hello. I was wondering, you have this unique project, but I was wondering how people that do things like ballet, where you start super young and you becomes your whole life, and then as you get older and mature, how do you stay focused and passionate about it in general?
I think like if you love something like music, for example, you never really get sick of it if you love it so much. You know, there's days where you don't listen to so much music, or you're not so into it, or then you find that band that you like. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like day to day, it can get grueling and boring, and it can hurt, and it can be exhausting. But if you love it, it's all worth it when you get to perform. Performance is really the best part about being a dancer. It's all live performance in front of, so many different kinds of people all the time. So I find it exciting in different levels all the time.
Hi, I have a question. You dance, and a lot of Broadway shows now have a lot of ballet in it. Would you ever come to Broadway and dance?
I've never really thought about it. A lot of my friends and a lot of dancers that did Flesh and Bone are on An American in Paris now. And it looks like it's a lot of fun and interesting. But I don't know. I'm not really the most talented singer in the world, so I don't know. I don't know how it would go, but maybe. We'll see.
Had you ever auditioned for anything like An American in Paris or a TV show or movie before?
Never, no.
Hi. Do you encourage young girls to study ballet? And if yes, why so? Thank you.
I would definitely encourage girls to study ballet. It's good for your body when you're young, and it's so feminine, and it gives you a nice posture and a grace, and if you're at the right level, you can have a beautiful career with it. I think there's a little bit of this idea of perfection in it that's a little bit too ridiculous, and that, if I was teaching them, I would try to just push them to the highest standard that they could be at and never try to push them past what they think is their best.
Were you pushed at all in ballet?
Yeah, I was pushed and then not pushed and pushed and not pushed and, encouraged, discouraged, told to quit, told to keep going.
Who told you to quit? Who discouraged you?
I had a few ballet schools that in the beginning when I was younger, they thought, oh, maybe she should try modern. She doesn't really have the body for it, or, I know. It's like the same story. I'm like a broken record, but yeah, it's a tough industry to be in, so.
I just find it heartbreaking that someone would tell you that. Next question.
Hi.
Hi.
So your focus is primarily on ballet, but is there another type of dance that you are maybe interested in, like jazz or tap or something like that?
I've never studied any other kind, just classical ballet.
Hi.
Hi.
So I know we've touched on like the body image thing a couple of times. I wanted to know, first, your thoughts on Misty Copeland's one of the new principals in the New York City Ballet, how you feel about her. I'm sure you're very happy to see someone with that type of body, and also if that's an issue you tackle on the show.
She is so hot, first of all. She's so beautiful and humble and wonderful, and yeah, she had her own set of struggles. I mean, it's like it's ridiculous. If you have boobs, you're fat. That's just how it goes, you know? And yeah, she is just wonderful, and I couldn't be more happy for her. And on the TV show, I would say that nobody was really critical of that sense, no. Oh, no.
Not yet.
Time for 3 more questions.
Yes, you mentioned before, Sarah, that you were pushed and you were not pushed. And I took ballet, jazz, African dance when I was in elementary school, junior high. But I knew at a certain point that it was too much for me. I did not want to do any kind of tricks, flips, or anything. So what was your point? At what point did you feel, okay, I'm going to be motivated to do different stunts and different tricks? Or did anyone say to you, keep on going, as you just said, or were you kind of nervous to do certain?
You know, always it's discouraging when people tell you that you can't do something. I mean, and you either have to push yourself past it or quit. So I choose to push myself, and, you know, it wasn't the easiest. I definitely went through a lot of emotional trouble with it, but I feel like I always had the drive for it, and I really couldn't picture myself doing anything else. You know, I would think about, okay, I'm going to go to college and do this and that, and I couldn't really find a reason why I would want to do that. And I just wanted to keep dancing, so I thought, if I don't dance, I'll teach. You know, if I don't teach, I'll write something. If I don't, you know, I just had to keep finding a reason to stay involved with my passion, and it just worked out that I pushed myself far enough that I made it.
This show is also from executive producer Moira Wally Beckett, who won Emmys for Breaking Bad, as the poster says. You were living in Germany. Did you have any concept of Breaking Bad? Were you a fan? Were you aware of the show?
Yeah, I was definitely aware of the show. Actually, when I got the email, I thought it was a reality TV show, and I kind of at first was like, no, I don't want to do something like that. And then I saw the names and people listed at the bottom, and it was like one of Tarantino's producers, Lawrence Bender, and John Melfi, who produced Sex and the City, and then Moira, and I saw, like, you know, how crazy this opportunity is going to be. So I watched a little bit of Breaking Bad. I haven't finished it yet, but I am working on it.
Have you told her that? Does
she
know
knows.
that?
She knows I'm so busy with dancing that it's just like, you know, after dancing for 8 hours a day, it's like you sit down and you're like, I can't focus on anything right now except just resting.
That's when you watch reality TV.
Yeah, cartoons. I like cartoons.
Really?
Yeah.
What cartoons do you watch?
I love, like, Rick and Morty, you know.
Oh, the Adult Swim show? Absolutely, yeah, it's a great show.
And Adventure Time. I'm huge on Adventure Time.
Right here?
Oh, hi, Sarah. All right, so you know there's so many pre-pressure in the dancing world, especially ballet. There's so many people competing to be number one or trying to be like someone else. What separates you from the other dancers? And what advice would you give to a young girl or a young boy that's watching right now that's probably being pressured into, you know, trying to be the best instead of, like, you know, being encouraged to be themselves and to show, you know, that they can do it? Because, you know, peer pressure is very big. So, like, what advice would you give them?
I would say what separates me from other dancers is a level of artistry. If I... you know, anyone can do the technique if you're taught the right way. And portraying a character was something that I've always been really strong in, and I love to express myself through that kind of art. If I was going to give some advice to young girls, I would say to just always try to keep a sense of who you are, because being unique when you're young sometimes plays against you because they want you to be just like everyone else. But when you actually grow into yourself and you become a woman and you are unique on top of that, that's when people start to really realize, oh, that person's special. I want that person for my company. Thank you.
I think we have one more question right here in the front.
It seems like Flesh and Bone kind of explores that beautiful contrast we see in ballet, where there's all the pain and difficulty, but also the beautiful triumph. I was wondering if there's anything that you would like to change about the ballet world in the future, or as it stands now.
I wish that that it was government funded, so that
Yes.
I wish that the arts were government funded, like
Yes.
you know, because then in general.
No, because if the arts were government funded and ballet was government funded, it would be explored more. You'd have people
Yeah.
seeing a lot more of it.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be as political and difficult, you know, and people are constantly struggling with money and venues and audiences, and it's sad. It's a dying art form. You want to preserve the arts. It's one of the only beautiful things left in humanity is art. So I would want to fund it. That would be beautiful.
Yes. Sarah, thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful time talking to you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the show. Guys, thank you for being here, and thank you for watching on AOL.